So recently we received a new teaching of Lumpa, translated from Thai, and it's on the subject of the nature of wrong views and the difficulty of getting rid of them and attaining the right view. The original transcription of the teaching is quite informal and a little bit messy in style, so I will present it to the best of my ability, having slightly edited it and arranged it, but without changing the meaning. So the first point starts by saying basically that developing right view is done in no other way than through learning to remove the wrong view within us. So we might think that sounds almost too obvious, but if we really take it just literally, the only way to get to the right view is to remove the wrong view. That is to say, it's not through doing something else that then will magically remove the wrong view and give us right view. So what that means is that we have to actually actively search for our wrong views. He says learning to remove the wrong view is nothing other than uncovering our own misunderstanding and turning in the opposite direction. And in fact, when the misunderstanding is thoroughly uncovered, it is quite natural to turn in the opposite direction. There's no need to, once you know the misunderstanding, there's no need to then say, okay, now I have to turn in the opposite direction and search for another idea. Either you have the wrong view or you have the right view. There's not really an in-between. So in other words, when the wrongness of the wrong view is exposed, when you see that it's wrong, that's basically the start of right view. For example, we have to realize the wrongness of accusing others or blaming others for making us suffer, and see instead that only we can make ourselves suffer. So instead of accusing them, if we suffer on account of what somebody else has done, we know that this points to only our own lack of wisdom and our own unawareness. So it means when we understand enough the wrongness of blaming others, then there's nobody to blame but ourselves. And that's the start of looking at it rightly. But it's important to be careful here and don't think that you kind of get the idea of it and you say, yeah, okay, I understood. Done. It's not that. It's not, this knowledge is not something to kind of know as a fact or a memory to repeat to others. It actually really must apply to all our experiences. Any happiness that you might get from reaching something outside of yourself then is unwholesome happiness, unhappiness from the wrong view, sensual happiness. And the happiness that comes from right view is born from only from letting go of the source of suffering in ourselves. Just letting go of directly of what the suffering is in ourselves. And when suffering is abandoned directly, the result is happiness. And only then is the happiness of the right view. And so this should make us see, if we think that we understand a point in Dhamma, such as that it's wrong to accuse others and blame others for making us suffer, or that it's wrong to expect happiness from something outside of us, but then we go and feel happy because of something that comes from outside, then we didn't really understand anything. We just added a new concept or idea to our set of ideas that we find pleasing, but it doesn't actually apply to our life. If it really is understood, it means that it should affect your whole life. So how do we uncover our wrong views? The trouble is that wrong view doesn't know actually the difference between right and wrong. That's its nature. Wrong view, the one with wrong view, acting by wrong view and thinking with wrong view, doesn't think he's wrong. He assumes he is right. So even those who kill and torture other people don't think that they are wrong to do so. They think that they're right. So what about subtler points? So you might think, oh yeah, I don't have the wrong view. But if you're asked questions about the basic nature of things, are you sure 100% that you will be able to give the right answer? When you answer and it turns out to be wrong, do you intend to speak wrongly? Do you speak thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to give a wrong answer here? Then what is speaking? What's making you speak when it turns out to be wrong? So then he gives an example then. It's a question to reflect on. Where do we keep the wrong view? Where is the wrong understanding? Where do we keep them? If we haven't abandoned it, then we must have it. But where? Where is it? For example, at this moment you are listening to Dhamma, And at this point, where is the wrong view in you? And one of the students in the discourse that Lumpa is giving, somebody replies, inside of us. And he replies, where? Does it have ears and can it hear? Does the wrong view have ears to listen to the Dhamma? And he explains, if you say that it's inside of you, but you're not able to answer where, then it means that that is the wrong view itself that spoke, or that directed the speaking when you say it's inside, but you don't know where. When something we do is wrong, even when we believe it's right, that means it's the wrong view directing the action. The wrong view who is like the master or the foreman, the supervisor of us. It's not that the wrong view is a thing, an object, like an object outside of us that we can choose to hold on to or to keep or not keep. If it were in some particular place, like a thing that we could keep in some particular place, then we would still have some chance to avoid it, to get around it. But it's not from outside. And then he gives a kind of example or simile about the ability to speak two languages. When you're able to speak another language, for example, I can speak French or I can speak English. But if I choose to speak French, it doesn't mean that I throw away my ability to speak English. I'm actually not able to get rid of the ability to speak English just by choosing to speak French. Or if I choose to speak English, I have to keep the ability to speak French. It doesn't go away. So trying to get rid of the wrong view by doing something else doesn't work, for example. Or trying to get rid of the wrong view by avoiding doing something doesn't work. Because the wrong view is not there, it's not in that. Speaking either French or English requires a director of speech, something that directs the speech. If we can't remove the wrong view, it will remain our director who reveals its direction in all our experience. It manages how we see, how we hear, how we taste, smell, and touch, how we think, how we understand, basically everything. And he says, even those of you who have come to listen to this Dhamma talk, for example, it's the wrong view that comes, that directs coming to see Dhamma or hear Dhamma, coming to listen, listening. So as long as we don't find really where the wrong view is and abandon it, we're basically stuck with being guided by it unknowingly in pretty much everything we do. It's important to try to grasp the implications of this, because many people, for example, think that by listening to Dhamma talks or gaining a lot of knowledge of the Tipitaka or from listening to different monks and things like that, that they will be removing their wrong view. But what Lumpa is saying here, that when it's the wrong view who comes to listen, then there can be no understanding that will really arise until the wrong view is abandoned by that person. And he gives the example about Devadatta and Ananda, that both of them came to listen to the Dhamma, and both of them studied as monks with the Buddha for several years. So Devadatta, don't think that he didn't know anything about Dhamma. You don't think that he didn't have any memory of Dhamma. He was memorizing the discourses and repeating them just the same as the other monks. But the difference between them is that Ananda was able to get rid of his wrong view and understand, and Devadatta was not. So it was the wrong view who memorized the Dhamma, even as the same words, same discourses, and able to repeat them to others as well. But he was never able to get rid of the wrong view. He was never able to attain right view, no matter how much Dhamma he listened to. And because he was not able to abandon it, he was always under its power. And it's the same for us. We have to understand that there's nowhere else we can put it. We don't automatically put it aside when we listen to Dhamma. And if we do not abandon it ourselves, then we will always be under its power. So we have to start from this point of realizing that we don't know. Realizing that, okay, I have wrong view. And I don't know even what that is. Wrong view, it doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. So we have to start by going to find out where we're wrong. It's only right view that can recognize both right and wrong view. It can distinguish right thinking from wrong thinking, right livelihood from wrong livelihood, right effort from wrong effort. That's the characteristic of right view. So he says, how can one abandon wrong view when he cannot realize that he has such a view? So then think about it. When the wrong view is not abandoned, where is it stored? And when I said that, he says, you start to wonder, so now doubt is following my words. What is this doubt then? Where does that come from? You should at least have some right view, but how come there's only wrong view and doubt? When confusion arises instead of clarity, in response to the question of where do we keep the wrong view, that's because we have the wrong view inside. So he's trying to show us, to make us realize, oh, I don't know. Because that's super important to see I don't know. It's the essential first step to start breaking the wrong view, because what the wrong view does is that it assumes it's right. We assume we're right. We assume we're good. We assume we know. Or, which is just kind of another form of the same thing, we just say, oh yeah, me, I don't know anything. I don't know anything at all, so therefore I'll just believe whatever this or that monk says, or whatever I read. Because me, I don't know, but they say that, yes. Or just I don't know. I decide to say that I don't know, and I kind of avoid all responsibility of trying to actually calculate and choose and see for myself what's right and what's wrong. It's the same thing. Another example, a question that he asks then, let's look at it this way. Answer these two questions. When we listen, how do we listen? How does the right view listen? How does the wrong view listen? If one has right view, they will be able to answer both questions without any doubt. Not being able to answer, or giving a wrong answer, is caused by wrong view. Then he explains, the path is to know both right and wrong. The wrong path is led by the wrong view, and the right path is led by the right view. This applies in everything. Listening is like that. We listen and understand that this is right and this is wrong when we have right view. When we look within ourselves, we are able to know that we are doing things rightly or wrongly. That this is right, this is wrong, this is unwholesome, this is wholesome. Even when we smell, we will know that this is the right way to smell, and this is the wrong way. This is the right tasting, this is the wrong tasting. Right view knows all contacts through the body and mind, including eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. But if you don't know what happens at the moment of contact, if you're totally unaware, then you just know nothing. Neither right nor wrong. When we're thinking and we have no idea if it's useful or not, beneficial or not, we're just totally unaware. That's when we have only the wrong view. Having the right view means being able to see it. Wrong view is the director of all unwholesome actions. And yet if there's any disagreement, you will defend yourself and believe that you are right. Why do I warn you? If we don't destroy the wrong view, we can have no refuge anywhere. But if you can abandon it, you gain such a great worth, as such an enormous value. But it's only after we abandon wrong view that we can realize the true value of the right view. And if not, we will see no true value in it. How can the wrong view see the value of the right view?